Michael Canale, what you are one of the most respected, sought after Hollywood colorists. I think your roll call of superstar client is second to none, but very importantly, and I guess the thing that put you on the map originally was that you were one of the dynamic duo behind the Rachel for Jennifer Aniston. Hi, welcome to Rescue TV.
Thank you for having me.
Michael, you have not been lazy these past 30 years. You live and you work in, I think, 5 states and around the world. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually have 3 salons in Europe, and I still have 5 locations and 3 in Los Angeles. So we have 8 going on right now.
And your celebrity client list, do you know what I loved about when I got the press release and the invitation to speak to you is a lot of people have maybe worked with a celebrity once, 15 years ago, and they've added it to
Right?
the CV. But it seems to me that you are a permanent fixture of some of the most beautiful women in the world: Jennifer Aniston, Kate Hudson, Penelope Cruz, Heidi Klum, Shakira. Um, some of my favorite, and Carolyn Murphy as well. Some of the most beautiful and aspirational women in the world have not just worked with you once, but repeatedly. How do you get a reputation like that in a competitive market like Hollywood?
It really depends on the hair cutters you work with. It's like for Chris McMillan and Adair Abigail and people like that will always throw me to the top. And I work with them and we come up with the greatest ideas together as a combination to usually do a red carpet, or we're going to do a movie or a sitcom or one of those big ideas that go by, for the new look for who knows, just to get somebody casted in a new look, like when somebody goes from brunette to blonde.
So if we take it from a real kind of woman perspective, I think one of the most iconic hair moments in television history is Sliding Doors, when Gwyneth Paltrow cuts her hair, goes blonde, pixie. And I think you just touched on it beautifully. When actresses are getting cast for new roles, their color, it can actually win them a role or lose them a role. And we've seen, some iconic moment in hair color transform a Hollywood star from being a star to a superstar. And, it's interesting that you've been behind some of these key transformations. Can I ask you, for mere mortals, we'll start with this. How should we brief our colorist to get that superstar transformation that we're looking for?
Well, one of the things you have to do is look around town and see if you can find some people that have the color you're looking for. Ask them where they went. When you hear the same name 3 or 4 times, you go give them a shot. When you go to them, you talk to them and they're going to sell you and you're going to sell them. You're going to basically talk about what you want or what you don't want. One of the best things that people don't realize is tell people what you don't like, so that, you're basically not going to be happy at the end of your meeting with the colorist. So they have an idea of which direction to go. Like, I don't like it golden, or I don't like it reddish, or I don't like it whatever. But what you want to do is really pick the right color for the person, with their skin undertones, with their natural hair color.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely drill down on that. Yeah, for sure. So when you're briefing the hairstylist, I think that this is your advice is really practical and fantastic. But I want to take it back to your celebrity client. How do they brief you? How does a Jennifer Aniston or a Penelope Cruz brief a Michael Canale? And what's important to them?
One of the best things that people like Penelope Cruz is to keep their hair healthy and looking natural. So paper thin highlights are the best thing for her, something to bring out a sparkle. I mean, there's nothing attractive about streaky hair when you're brunette. I mean, it's like the graduation of color to make it look like it was done in the sunlight, or something like that. Or Jennifer Aniston says she has a new role coming up, and her producer and her director might talk to me or talk to her, and then we talk to Chris, and then we make it a unified movement to, I want to be blonder for this role, or I want to be a brunette, or we want to, you know, maybe we don't really want to go that dark and we want to put on a little wig to be a dark brunette. So to take that and go back to Jennifer's beautiful caramelized hair color could be a nightmare. So wigs are sometimes picked for certain roles.
And I think that's an important thing for people to know, that it's not always the actress's hair that you're trying to emulate. Maybe you're trying to actually copy a wig, right?
Yeah, it's like, I gotta honestly say, a lot of the people, especially with the aggressive hair colors of the last, 4 or 5 years with the balayage, a lot of people their hair's only 6 inches long, but when you see them on camera, their hair's like 1.5 feet long because of extensions. So we're working just to give the illusion. Remember, hair color is an illusion. What I want to do is bring out your best features with this illusion. So that's sort of the trick.
Your signature is healthy hair, and you developed a hair care brand based on your philosophy of healthy hair, and you've expanded on that with the gloss that you're actually launching internationally this week, right?
Right. We just launched it, I think it was Friday,
Yeah,
and it's going
congratulations.
into Amazon right now. We're sort of happy with that.
So tell me what you're doing with that gloss color. Is that like tell me about your philosophy of healthy hair and how you kind of train your celebrity clients to achieve it, and how and why you developed your hair care line.
One of the things that the first rule of thumb is no haircut looks good with damaged hair. So healthy hair is the thing that's going to make you look younger, make you look like your crown of glory is your hair. So you want it to have a nice shine. You don't want to have to keep running hot irons through it to make it look that good.
Mhm.
So the philosophy is no haircut looks good with bad hair color. So the whole thing is to make the hair color and come up with something like when we made the Rachel, I designed the hair color to look like a Greek medium brown that we like dripped paper thin highlights to make the ends look lighter and the base look darker so that it happened in the sunlight. Then we did the haircut. Then we came back and then we re-accented with highlights.
So what would be a modern version? So what would be a modern version of the Rachel that you're getting asked for, or say some of your naturally brunette clients who are wanting to go sun-kissed, because in Australia we're going into our summer and everyone wants to be a caramel or a lighter version. What's the modern way of achieving that?
The modern way of attaining it is like I said, paper thin highlights, using the natural color to really make it come out, and bring out the natural hues of the hair, bring out the eye color. It's like, who's got that version? It's pretty much everyone, especially during COVID. You want to have a color that actually lasts you 2 to 3 months.
So what are you doing? What are your products? How do they kind of fit in between the artistic vision of the color and then
we made the mildest shampoo. So we made the mildest shampoo that doesn't lift hair color. So it maintains hair color. The shampoo and conditioner both battle oxidation, so your hair is not going to yellow. So it battles oxidation. We made 2 vitamins, a topical ingestible and an ingestible. So both of those, amazing, the first topical vitamin. So it goes into the scalp, into the follicle, into the hair itself.
Amazing.
And then we have the ingestible that is 100% vegan, which is sort of something like the superfood blue-green algae.
Yes.
And 9 other ingredients that absorb into the system to maintain healthy hair. And then we went into conditioners. So we have Soften and Soften Plus that can be easily mixed with the new oils that we made. So you might be able to adjust your own conditioners with the proper oils. Then we made the new glosses that actually secure the hair color. So they lock the color, they reduce the fadage because they're actually a sealant. They work with the skin undertones. So we have cool blue, we have midnight blue. Both those work with a cool undertone to the skin. Then we have like Sun Kiss that works with a golden to warm undertone. So we have the two, there's going to be 6 colors altogether shortly.
Right.
And they're both to work with undertones. It's sort of like hair makeup, things to bring out the best.
I'm
You know
going
what
to
I
ask
mean?
you a question about undertones, because I know that this is an area that, you know, is kind of your signature. Let's go back to the blonde question. What blonde for what undertone?
So let's just say you're a cool undertone. So you're
So what would
usually
be a
an
celebrity
ashier
reference?
base. So you might, who's got Scandinavian hair color right now? I think everybody tries for it, but who really has it? I don't know. I don't know who's wearing
Like a
the
Charlize
cool undertone.
Theron, is
It's
that
usually an ash-based person.
okay?
Charlize, well, she does a base color, so it's hard to, you really need the natural ashy base color to work with the cool highlights to make it look like you're Scandinavian or that you're from the Icelandic areas where
Right,
people have the ash base with the whiter highlights. So
right.
then when you're working with gold tones, it's usually a gold base all the way to a warm base, up to the bright reds. All those are sort of golden and warm undertones. So they work from baby blonde all the way to bright red to copper reds, but it's like how you look at it. So that it goes on, the lightest one would be baby blonde, then it would go golden blonde, then it would go strawberry blonde, then it would be a caramel tone, and then it will work its way into the reddish tones, to the auburns, the light browns, reddish browns, things like that that really maintain and bring out the skin. So if you have the right color on your skin, makeup isn't quite so necessary because it really cleans your skin up.
So when you're looking at, say, a brunette who wants to go blonde, or you get an Asian skin tone who wants to go blonde, what are the ranges that they can play in? Because obviously it's easier for a blonde to go blonde, but if you're talking about people who are not naturally blonde, how would you, as you know, a colorist and an alchemist, guide them to have that transformation without looking, unflattering?
One of the things that I usually work with is gradually moving them into the proper color so that it really looks real when you get there. Like if you're really trying to make one color, like say you have Asian dark ink black hair, you really want to lift it and do blonde? Maybe, but you're going to be in the cool tones because they go better with the winter. Like I said, it's an ashy base. So dark ash brown, ashy base. So you're going to want cool tone. You can do subtle golden tones in it as long as it's not along the face.
And what
Do you
about,
follow
let's
me at
say,
all
a
on this?
Mediterranean complexion, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern? What are the, they love to go blonde. How would you guide them to go blonde without, really clashing with their
Sort of the same way we did with Jen. We start moving her forwards. Like you just start highlighting and you do caramelized highlights. And then you see them again in a month and a half. And then you do more. You add to the art piece. I guess we're calling it an art piece because the hair is your crown and glory. If it's the right color, really brings out the best features in you.
So someone like Shakira, who's got a lot of hair, and it looks like you've gradually taken her color as well, right?
Yeah, we went to, well, when I met Shakira, she was white. So then we moved her into more of a natural color that blended out well with her. And then she sort of embraced who she looks like. It's like one of the things is like I like colors that go along with who you are. And a lot of people really think the blonder you go, the more you're going to be noticed, but not when everybody's that blonde. It's like then you're just like everybody else. And it's like the same extensions are used on all the same people. That's why I said it's hard to really categorize a blonde right now because the extensions are basically the thing that guides the colorist,
I'm going to
and
ask you
whatever.
about one of, again, I think one of your signature looks is that your color looks expensive and ultra luxurious. When you think about Carolyn Murphy's color, she really is, an iconic figure when it comes to looking beautiful and elegant. And same with Penelope Cruz. How do you work with their hair to give them that really expensive polished look?
So with Carolyn's funny because like she has to go on shoots all the time. So like we just styled the hair in just I think it was Friday afternoon where somebody made it too blonde. So we had to, resurrect her natural beauty. Let me tell you something, when something looks natural, it makes you look younger. So one of the best things is to do the natural coloring so that they look like people say, I want to look like I did the color when I was 15, 13. Those colors they gravitate towards, and then you highlight from that point. So with Carolyn, it's always, we're always dialing her hair back in because she goes to Europe and then they touch it up and then she comes home and guess who gets to fix it? It's fun to fix hair though.
And someone like Penelope Cruz, like you were saying, you don't push it too far. You just use color to accent, to highlight, to, bring out some of her features. What are some of the?
Yeah, you bring out the features with paper thin highlights always works, but as people get older, they're doing base colors. So now you have, like when I do a base color, I love to use, especially brunettes, like a semi-permanent. So we're not altering the natural hair color. Then when we highlight and work with the natural hair color, especially a brunette, like a Spanish brunette, like Penelope or somebody like that, why would you want to turn it into reddish brown?
Yeah.
So you use real hair color, everybody turns reddish brown. If you use semi-permanent color, you can keep her in her own color family. Do you follow me on this one?
I do.
Yeah.
And let's talk about gray hair. And, we've got women from, their 30s going gray, and they want to have beautiful salon colored hair, and they want to take care of it at home. What are some tips and tricks for taking care of your hair in between salon visits to make the color last a little bit longer? Or are there any color techniques that can be used to make the need for in-between visits for graying hair?
Well, they're probably the same techniques you'd use for COVID. So on in between, say your hair grows a root within 2 weeks and you see gray coming up on your hairline. You can buy a couple of those companies have the powders, the concealers, or the spray concealers. So they're not going to alter your natural base color, but for the moment, they're going to get rid of your gray until you wash it again.
Yeah.
So concealers are first for, in between going to your salon visits.
Yeah.
Then it goes into demi-permanent and semi-permanent. Demi-permanent covers the gray for about 2 to 4 weeks. Right. Semi-permanent could last up to 8 weeks. And if it's left on longer, it could last up to permanent. And it still keeps the natural base color the way it's supposed to be, so that it's an easy touch-up at home. Like I said, it's like something to maintain until you go back to the salon, especially like people that are getting highlights. Like there's no way to really highlight your hair at home, but you can cover the gray. And, people that are seasoned with coloring, they're doing highlights at home, they can do that. I mean, they've done it for years. So that person can actually touch it up themselves. But the novice, don't touch bleach.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, that could be your biggest nightmare.
I'm just going to round it off with some of your pro tips on caring for hair, because again, that health of hair, that beautiful mane of hair, whether it's short or long, the healthier it is, the more beautiful it is. How often do you think we should wash our hair?
I think a clean head of hair is always nice. It's like every day, like even that shampoo I made is so mild that it's like you can do it daily. It's not going to lift or move your color. A nice fresh head of hair, and like I said, I like daily. Some people like every other day. Mm-hmm. Our shampoo actually removes an oil from the follicle, which gives you 2 extra days of clean hair. So we didn't discuss that, but that's what it does. And that's when you put the topical vitamin on after you remove the oil from the follicle. So every day I prefer, especially for boys. For girls, up to 3 days. Some girls can go up to a week. Depends on how much oil is produced in their, in their scalp and how it moves down the hair shaft. Cleanliness and a fresh scent is always good.
What about treatment? How often do you think that we should be putting treatments in our hair?
You should always use a treatment for your ends. You don't always have to do your regrowth. I mean, it's like there's no reason. That hair is usually pretty healthy. So treat your ends like with tender, loving care, like we made the oil to be added to the conditioners. This is just to hydrate your ends and make them shiny, and it rebuilds the proteins, and it gives it more strength to handle, especially hot tools and things like that. And we made this new oil that mixes with soften. You can actually add enough oil to it to do hot oil treatments and wear it to the beach. You know what I mean? It's like you can make a hot oil treatment and enjoy your day, you know?
And in terms of using styling tools, is there a temperature that you always recommend that's not going to affect your color, or a frequency, with the irons and your blow dryer and your brush? What are the best tools and techniques to keep your color fresh?
Keep your color fresh. I always tell people, if you're going to use curling irons and hot irons, to unplug them and let them sit a minute before you use them, because they're usually pretty hot. Nowadays, the technology is much better than it used to be. So you can actually not be so, it's not so aggressive. It's not as hot as they used to be. So like I said, like 10 years ago, you'd unplug your hot iron, let it sit for a minute, then you'd curl your hair.
Yeah.
Just so it doesn't take the oil out. You've seen people when they're getting blow dries, you see the steam and the oil is coming out of the hair.
Yeah,
That's different cultures do very, when the hair is very frizzy, they really like, I have a lot of Turkish counterparts. Those guys can blow out hair amazingly. But you also see the hair smoking a little bit. Like you can see the moisture coming out of it. But it's going to stay straight for like a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of, I'll just ask you about, I could speak to you all day. I mean, really, you're iconic, and it's been such a pleasure to have the opportunity to bring you to our readers. But I will finish off with, once you've, styled your hair, are there any products or techniques that you recommend for keeping the hair looking great a little bit longer, for the red carpet or a photo shoot or a family event?
Like that, like I said, we made that new oil. You can just use like 2 or 3 drops and mix it with your hands, and then just sort of run it through the ends, like just very lightly, and you'll get that sort of hydrated shine. It calms down the frizz. It's like, that's the only product that we have that's to maintain the frizz and calm it down. What else do I like? Basically, like the hot tools.
And with Kate Hudson's hair, she's got that real beachy look. She must use product in it still, right?
You can actually just leave your hair and just not wash it for 3 or 4 days and get that more beachy look. She lives at the beach, in Palisades. So it's like, there you go. It's like just hanging out at the beach. Beach water does make beautiful curl, by the way. That's why a lot of people made those the sprays that have salt water in them.
Yeah.
Just to get that thing going, get that curly, beachy look going,
Michael, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and I'll have all the links to your new product launches. But I want to thank you, and we want to thank you for all the beautiful hair inspiration you've given us over the past 20 and 30 years.
Oh, perfect. Enjoy that new gloss, though. It does have a UV sunblock in it.
We need it in Australia.
Enjoy it.
We do. Bye. Have a great day.
Bye, dear.
Bye.
Bye.